Please mute yourself because, hello, everybody, but please mute yourself. So because this is a very sacred meeting and we don't want background noises, please. I'm just admitting everybody is quite a big group. So just be patient a bit. It's still a bit early. So just say hello to everybody. We just wait for everybody to come in. But thank you for being bright and early, because it always helps when you're bright and early, because then it helps me, because when I need to admit everybody so I don't come in late, so that helps. Yeah. Okay. I see some of you are still connecting. That's Emily and Marian. Just see. Asking everybody to mute themselves, please. We're just waiting for everybody to come in. That's just quite a large group, so must just be patient, please. It normally takes a few minutes for everybody to come in. Let's check here. It's taking a bit slow tonight. We just see everybody coming in. We'll give them another few minutes. There we are. Okay, it's the next one. We have about 30 people, so it just takes a bit of patience here. So it is fine. Thank you very much for your patience here. Okay, we still wait a few minutes. Just give everybody a chance. The internet is very much slow over this period of a year, with everybody being on holiday or most likely. So just that's also a factor that we've got to keep in mind. If you have a candle, you might like to light it. So we get in preparation here. Like I'll wait another 2 minutes, let's see. Waited 5 minutes now, so we'll just invite. In any case, hello everybody, and I'm so and welcome here. And I just want to say thank you for joining us, and thank you for being here within this very sacred circle. And I just want to give you a little bit of background about what's happening. You know, the old earth actually does not exist anymore. We have moved since the 21st of December into the new earth and the new golden age. That's the golden age of unity and oneness. But that unity and oneness actually starts within our heart center. As we start getting the balance between the masculine and feminine back, between the divine feminine and divine masculine. And the heart always represents the divine feminine because it's more intuitive, it's more love-centered, it's more heart-centered. And that's the center that directly links us with our soul. And our soul is divine in itself, as it was created by the divine source. Now, I use the words the divine source because a lot of people have got problems with the word God, mainly because they project their own idea, like a person, onto God. Like they like if they have a father figure in their life, because it's much the father figure that's a bother, that was abusive or was not loving in what they perceive as loving, they often have a great difficulty to connect to anything that is divine. Now, must remember that the divine itself is pure energy. Your soul is pure energy. This body here that you adopt is just a vessel that you adopt for a while, a very short while your soul is incarnated on earth. Now, your soul name, as I give it in my soul readings, is what your truth is. That is what you were created to be. That is what you were created to express, and that is what you were created to bring into the world as a way of service, as a way of higher service. Now, service is not like enslavement, as we often think it is. It means that you just work from your heart and your soul and all that you are in as unity with the divine. So in other words, you and divine as one serve in this way. It is your way of bringing love into the world. It is what you are loving to do, you are loving to be, you are loving to give out to the world. Now, the mind was created and is very much the masculine essence. That is the rational mind. That is the one that is practical, the one that brings things down to nitty gritty. But also it's got a higher mind, which is very much that of the sacred geometry and the sacred maths. That is the sacred architect, the sacred engineer. That is the more masculine aspect of creation. It's the ones that put the bolts and nuts and everything into being, while the feminine is the one that brings the physical creation into creation with great love. So the feminine brings the balance of love into it. But you know what's so beautiful is that the divine created the mind in the human to be only stretched that far. The medical profession has actually proved this, that the mind energy is very much limited, while the heart energy can stretch for miles. It's infinite. They even found with heart transplants that if they take the heart from one person and transplant it into the other, the memory of that heart carries on in the person who has taken in the new heart. So that is how powerful the heart is. Now, with the fall of Atlantis, sorry, is somebody coming in? The fall of Atlantis, what happened is that humanity went totally in the mind. They shut the heart off and they went into their minds. And I just ask everybody to mute themselves. I think this might be somebody who's new. If you can just press the mute button on your screen. What happened there is that we started to create separation. You must remember that what we think, we create, what we feel, we create. And humanity at that time consciously started to create separation from the divine within themselves and from the heart center. And they actually cut the feminine out of the equation. They did not listen to the intuitive voice anymore. They didn't listen to their heart anymore. Everything was now rationalized as patriarchy took over. Those are the last 2,000 years and more. It's about 25,000 years now since Atlantis sunk. It could be even more. They're not quite sure because the Great Flood was the end of the Atlantis as we know it, and the geologist and the archaeologist are fighting about who's right there, but the geologists bring it back to more than that, even to about 1 million years ago, so we don't quite know. But it might be anything between 25 to 1 million years of that, remembering that the Earth years were not always measured in the way they were measured today. What this brings about now, what it brought about is the great control of humanity. not control in the sense, but in a sense that as humanity lost their connection to the divine and they started to separate the divine and the feminine and the masculine, and then there was what? Imbalance created. Because now the male was taking all the power and the feminine was swinging in between here. It brought great pain to humanity. It brought fear to humanity. It brought programming to humanity, which was not always in highest alignment with the divine universal laws. In fact, humanity turned its back on the universal laws. And what happened is with that, the fall came because the heart was closed. And when the heart center is closed, the heart and mind are not in balance. Again, the mind is in control, the heart is. So the mind takes everything, it's weighing here, the heart is there somewhere floating. And this imbalance created pain and suffering. And with that came judgment, came duality, came polarity. And every time we judge somebody, we close our heart. Every time we see ourselves separate from the divine or anybody else, we close our heart. We do not want to feel anymore. We want to rationalize everything. And then what happens is we beat ourselves up. We are even separated from ourselves because we hate ourselves. We do not love ourselves. We don't find ourselves worthy. And in that, we create more pain. But it's what is more, for every emotional charge that is not dissolved, for everything that you hold on to that's not forgiven, you start to create dis-ease in your body, disease. You can find out more about that by reading the book by Louise Hay called Heal Yourself. Because every disease in the body has got an underlying emotional issue that is not resolved. Now we return now to Mary Magdalene. I have followed the path of connected with Mary Magdalene, especially in 2016, when I was in France, before I was in France. And I have always asked myself the question, what is it that the feminine held that they were so persecuted? And it came mainly because I recalled myself as a Qatar being burnt at the stake with 5 Knights Templars. And that put me on a quest because I wanted to know why I was the only woman between all these men. And why was I being burnt? What was the reason? It has brought me on a whole journey of rediscovery in the deepest sense of it. And through that, I understood that the Qatars were always known as the pure ones. They were so pure that they brought the wrath of the Catholic Church against them because they showed up their own priests who were anything but pure at that stage. If you can just mute yourself there, thank you. So I went deeper into this and I said, okay, what was it that the Qatars knew? What was it that they practiced? What was it that what was their faith? And through those questions, I was brought back to Mary Magdalene. Because the Cathars and the Templars considered her holy. And they devoted their temples to her. And when I was in France, who was it that stood in the center of the church? It was Mary Magdalene. And there was one church specific that I was led into, and that was at Bucharest, where the symbols in the church were telling their own story. I was then led to Rennes-le-Château. Outside Rennes-le-Château, I opened up the original mystery school that belonged to Mary Magdalene, that was totally destroyed in hatred of her and her teachings. Yet, what nobody understood is that France held mystery schools long before Mary Magdalene was there. And when I did my tours of Greece and Egypt, I went right back to the fact that the first mystery schools were created by Isis and Osiris. But I will not go out of that. That's a longer story. In fact, if you look at all the churches in Europe, they are built right back on the goddess sites that were used to be there. Chartres Cathedral was an ancient Isis goddess site. Why was it a goddess site? Because the energy centers of the earth came together there. And where the energies of the earth come together as they were created in the first place, you've got a beautiful energy, which actually, when you step into that energy, you can access the higher realms easily, more easily than anywhere else. And the ancient architects knew that. That's why you have standing stones, the Stonehenge, these megalithic sites. They're all on sites which are very, very ancient and which depict the ancient mystery school. And that is something that has been recorded in the Hermetic teachings of Thoth, or as known in Greece as Hermes. We will come to the teachings of Hermes later. Now, what has this got to do with the Sacred Heart? I followed the story of Mary Magdalene from France to Delphi in Greece to Isis Island in Egypt, to the Sphinx, to the Giza pyramids. As I followed in her footsteps, she was indeed trained in the mystery schools in France, where she was born. From there went to Delphi, from there to Egypt. And that's where she met up with Jeshua. And together they went to Israel, where the Essenes were. Now the Essenes and the Egyptian mystery schools and the rest cannot be separated from each other because they're one and the same. Each one just had a different focus. And this extends into the Himalayas, into Persia and Turkey, and some other places, which I will not go into here. But I just want you to get the gist of it. When you went into the mystery schools, there was always something there which brought, sorry, that's my computer. They were always, from the beginning, you were trained on the sacred path. You were called to walk a very sacred path. It was a path of purity. Actually, I'm just realizing I made it for 6:30, so I'm sorry for those that didn't. Just welcome everybody here. I've got my time a bit skewed today. Okay, we'll just get everybody in. Please just mute yourself here. I'm sorry about that. Okay. I was so anxious to start this, that's why. I was so wanting to meet you all. But let's get back to the crust of it. From the beginning that the earth we were in the unity and oneness. Can I just ask everybody to mute themselves that just come in? You've got quite a lot coming in now. There's Cindy and Susan, everybody. I welcome you all, and I'm sorry I started a bit earlier because I got confused with the times. I normally start at 6 o'clock, and I got myself a bit. I was so in a different state this morning. I've always been in an altered state, so I am in a totally altered state today, and that is why I am a bit, as they say in Afrikaans, deur mekaar, upside down with my times. We come back to the state that Atlantis separated the heart from the mind, and we brought creation, separation. They created separation, alienation, control, that fear, the polarity, the duality, and the patriarchy, which took over. So there was imbalance. Yet deep inside the heart of humanity, there was always the remembrance of a first paradise, that ultimate state of being where you were so at one with the divine and with creation and with each other that there was just unity. There was oneness. Now, Mary Magdalene, the mystery schools, all taught one and the same thing. They taught the path of the Sacred Heart. They taught the path of oneness. They taught the path of unity. And they taught you that you can leave your old Adam and your old Eve behind forever. You can leave the duality behind. You can leave the polarity behind. You can leave the separation behind. And you will find the deepest unity within yourself, love within yourself. And then when you are so at one with the divine within, you can stand in the power of a master. And when you stand in the power of a master, you can literally create as co-creator with the divine, and you can command the universal laws to work with you. That was a sacred path. And it asks for purity. It asks for discipline, and it asks for focus. Sorry, everybody's coming in. Let me just get them in. So I just ask you to let that sink in. What does it mean to be on the sacred path? What does it mean to have discipline? What does it mean to have focus? The sacred path asks you for stillness. The sacred path asks you for quietude. And the sacred path asks you for a full heart opening. For those who have just joined, I would just want to say that I was led the path of Mary Magdalene from France to Delphi last year, to Egypt, especially Isis Island in Egypt, the Sphinx, the pyramids. And then from there, her journey after she married Joshua went to Israel, to the Essenes, who were a very sacred group. And in the last few months, I've really been brought back to their teachings, because I wanted to know the deeper essence of what it is, why Mary Magdalene was so persecuted. What is it that was there in the essence? What was there in the teachings? Sorry, there's another one coming in. Okay. We welcome all the newcomers. Sorry, I started a bit earlier, but I will recap my story. Another one. For those who have heard it before, it's to sink in. In the beginning, in the mystery schools, the men and the women were considered equals. As in all of the omniverse. Get that? At omniversal levels, the divine feminine and the divine masculine are always equal. One is not more than the other one. They work in tandem and in unity. The one is the more rational one that puts the digits into place. The mind, that sacred geometry, the maths, the structure, the form, those tiny details that you need to put everything in exact order so that everything is placed perfectly. The divine feminine brings the love. She literally is the cosmic heart of love. She is intuitive. She is the heartbeat of creation. She is the sound of creation. She's the spiraling energy of creation. That's Tesla's coil. The two together in love form the Holy Spirit, the Shekinah. The Shekinah is feminine again, while the Holy Spirit embodies the sacred fires in itself of masculine and feminine. It brings it into beautiful balance and expands it. When Atlantis came and humanity closed its heart and went totally into the mind and into the masculine, the feminine was pushed aside. Not in all countries, because in the native cultures, the feminine was very much still there, and the intuitive heart. So it's not that everybody's forgotten it. It was just the way that we were structured to think and to believe, which was all separation. Feeling ourselves separate from others, feeling ourselves separate from the divine, feeling ourselves separate from even ourselves. Because the hardest that I find in all human beings is to love yourself. It's almost like you say, okay, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. And yet love is omnipresent. Love is never absent. I sat in France when I had the revelation that Mary Magdalene, when she came back to France, she brought her ministry with her, which was now steeped as a high priestess, because she went away. She was trained from the age of 5 in France, in the mystery schools in France, which were held at Montsegur. From there went on to Delphi, where she learned how to become an oracle. From there she went to Egypt, in Alexandria, and also Heliopolis, where the great mystery schools of Egypt were held, and Isis Island, where the Isis most sacred teachings were held. From there then, with Jeshua to Israel. The wedding that's described as the Canaan wedding was actually the wedding of Jeshua and Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene was an ordained high priestess before she went to Israel. She was a phenomenal healer in her own right, and she worked with the Sacred Heart as much as Jeshua did. And they combined in a sacred marriage with the divine masculine and the divine feminine were beautifully balanced. And that made it so powerful. She was a teacher in her own right, and she taught alongside him. She taught more the women and the children, but she was an ordained teacher. she actually also was a deep student of John the Baptist. Because she belonged to the same order as John the Baptist did via the Egyptian mystery schools and that of France and Greece. Jeshua went to the east more. He went to Persia and to the Himalayas, and then came back. So the two enhanced each other with the different mystery schools that were held in the different places, each one concentration on a different type of teaching and all combining as one. Whatever happened after that, I will not go into this, but she returned to France. And she brought her sacred teachings with her. She was murdered in the end. Now, be that as it may, at this time, we are brought back. She is come back as a cosmic master who is helping to bring the beautiful balance between the masculine and feminine back with Jeshua, who works with the Sacred Heart. They both work with the Sacred Heart opening of humanity. As we move into the Golden Age, the Sacred Heart works with the sacred path, the path of purity. You cannot open your heart if there is still fear around, if there's still separation, if there's still duality, if there's still polarity and unforgiveness. The last 2,000 years since they were on earth, we became more and more separated. We became more and more polarized. We became more and more brainwashed along the way. And we started fearing each other. We started fearing to love. We started fearing to get hurt. We started to fear more than anything else the power of love. But now, everything is shifting. Since the 21st of December, the old earth does not exist anymore. It's there in holographic form. We are now in the new earth and the new golden age where the power of love and the sacred heart is the path itself. We start embracing our divinity. We open our heart center, we connect with our souls. And as we connect with our souls and we remember that we are divine, that we are a daughter of a God and goddess, of a divine masculine, the divine feminine, who created us in a moment of sacred oneness and love. That is what sacred union is all about. When both are so much in harmony and totally unconditional loving, that when they became almost one, there's the sacred fires that are lit up. And whatever is created within that sacredness is sacred. You are sacred. You're not powerless, you are powerful. The divine created you with every attribute that you need for your journey on earth. And that is what the new age is about, to stand fully in your mastery, to reclaim your power. And you cannot reclaim your power with a heart being closed and being just in your mind. It's your intuitive voice that's here inside. It's your voice that guides you. It's that intuitive knowing that now needs to come to the fore. It's the seeking out of stillness, of quietude. It's seeking the sacred space, the sacred path. I have now for the last 2 weeks gone in absolute stillness and quietude. Because I know that if I don't bring myself into harmony and balance and be filled so much by the divine presence and by divine love, I cannot serve in the highest degree. It's a deepest anchoring within yourself that will enable you now to navigate the path. Because if you are so at one within yourself and within your heart center, and the mind and the heart are as one, you will not be moved by the outside noises anymore. You will not be moved by the outside world. You will not be moved by anyone. You will walk in truth, you will walk in integrity, and you will walk in purity, filled with love. You are lifted beyond the old earth. That does not mean that we do not need to have the practicalities of the 3D anymore, but you will be protected and guided and move into that space. The more you let go of everything that was there. I had to, in the last few months, literally let go of everything that I still hung on to, that I still had not forgiven, that I have not. And it's an ongoing process because so much of it is subconscious. It's here, not even in our memory banks. And when something has been a great pain, you put it so deeply inside you that it's so deeply buried that sometimes when it needs to trigger, you must say to yourself, where did that come from? And you've got to go right into that memory bank and start to dissolve it and start to forgive. And also to remember to forgive yourself more than anything else. Now I'm going to do a sacred heart tuning today with you because I've been asked to do this. Because Mary Magdalene and Joshua are working with the sacred heart opening of humanity. They do this now as cosmic masters, returning the Christedness to earth. And we can all embrace the deepest Christedness within us. As we wear as we are gifted with the crown of glory and the garments of glory, the new higher body, the new embodiment. But we cannot do this as long as we hang on to unforgiveness, as long as we harden our hearts, as long as we judge others and ourselves. You know, in truth, every time you point your finger and say, yes, they do it, remember there's all these other fingers that are pointing right back at you. Everything you see in any other is there present within yourself. It's the shadow. And most people don't want to own their own shadow. Yet the shadow serves you as much as the light. And the higher you are lifted, the less you can see shadow and light, because they're actually one and the same. They complement each other. There is no separation. We sometimes don't know why souls took certain things upon themselves, but that's something they choose to experience. Who are we to judge? And nowhere will this come more to the fore than in relationships. The more somebody pushes your button, the more you've got to ask yourself, why is it pushing your button? It's there within yourself, what you see in them. Once you start loving yourself into that deeper shadow and the highest light, you love yourself into wholeness and harmony, into the sacred truth of who you in truth are. Everything is frequency and vibration. Your soul is frequency and vibration. The divine is frequency and vibration. And everything is sound. Sound vibration. Light vibration. In the ancient mystery schools, they always taught that. That you can attain oneness and unity through sound. Yet, again, it's stillness. It's quietude. You know, most people can't sit quiet because the inner noise is so loud that they cannot even, they cannot handle themselves. They cannot handle all the things that are coming up. It's exactly those, the inner noise needs to be addressed first. Because the inner noise tells you what is not healed within you. You get to a stage where you literally become so one with the divine and all that is, that inner noise is totally stopped. The brain switches off completely, the mind, and you just get to this space where you feel omnipresence in the highest degree. You become so at one with the divine that you enter a totally altered state where there's no ego anymore. Where you're just one with the cosmos, one with all that is. You are at one. There's just unity, one. And that goes through the expansion of the heart center. Your heart's electromagnetic field can spread for kilometers. Your soul can stretch into infinity. It is infinite. When you leave your body, which is just a vessel, you go back to your galaxy of origin. You continue life elsewhere in the cosmos. There's no end to you. You carry on. That's why one needs never to fear death. Death is just a shedding of this vessel. Your soul carries on. Your soul lives for eternity. What I'm first going to do this to get your sacred heart open, as I'm just an instrument now. As I bring you into stillness, as I bring you into harmony with your deepest divinity within yourself, because your soul is pure, your soul is whole. Your soul is perfect. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to cut out. There's nothing to alter. Your soul, in its truth, in its frequency, in its vibration, is absolutely pure. You are not the persona that you took on. You're not your name that you took on. You're not your status. You're not whatever you believe you are. That's not the truth of who you are. If you would start affirming your soul name every day, you will start living that power. And if you can see the beauty of yourself and your true soul essence, you will embrace yourself in wholeness and truth, and you will have tears running down your cheeks when you see the magnificence of your own soul in its purity, in its innocence, as the divine created you. And that's the way the divine sees you. There's no judgment. There's no separation. There's only the beauty of your soul as you are. And you're so loved. Love is never absent. The divine loves you in the deepest essence of the truth of who you are. In the perfection of who you are. In the creation of who you are. As a son and as a daughter of the divine. Glorious. Beautiful. The songs of your heart and soul reverberate throughout the cosmos. There's joy. There's beauty. There's power. There's a language of the heart that is infinite and of the soul as it connects through cosmic space. It needs no words. It communicates heart to heart, soul to soul. It speaks the language of love. Love need never be spoken. Love radiates forth. It's a frequency, it's a vibration. And the heart centers and the soul centers, others pick it up. You are like a book that can be read. We will get back to the stage where we don't need words anymore. We will sit in silence with each other and we will feel love in the greatest degrees. I once read a beautiful passage in one of Drumvalo Melchizedek's books where he said that he can go anywhere amongst the tribal people in the world. And even if he cannot speak their language, they can all read him because they all speak the language of the heart and they can read it. So they don't need words. That's what we're returning to. Indeed, the open heart and soul are steeped in the infinite power of love and thus speak infinite language, the infinite frequency and the vibration of the primordial creation and the creator source itself. The power of love is creation itself within itself, expanding forth omniversally. Your heart center is so powerful with your soul that it connects to the planetary heart. Through the planetary heart, it connects to the solar heart. Through the solar heart, it connects to the galactic heart. Through the galactic heart, it connects to the universal heart. Through the universal heart, it connects to the omniversal heart. So are you small? No. You are a universal soul. You are a universal being. You are a universal soul. Wow. Isn't that magnificent? So why are you playing small? Why do you hate yourself? Why do you judge yourself? Why do you do that to others? That's all past. That's a 3D. That's separation. The hearts all sing one song, and the souls will sing one song. So first I'm going to do the forgiveness decree with you before I give you the sounds of the heart. And we experience that omniversal presence, the absolute stillness, the profound beauty when we're truly connected to the divine and all that is through the heart and the soul as one with the mind. Because I'm going to give you two sounds today. The one works with the heart, the other one works with the opens the pineal and pituitary glands, the third eye, and they bring the brain into beautiful balance. They bring the divine and the divine masculine and the divine feminine within you into beautiful balance and harmony. So there's a sacredness of union within yourself. That is the truth of a sacred heart. So I just want you to close your eyes for a minute, and we're going to do this decree so that we just bring you through the fires of purity, so that you're absolutely pure and there's nothing hindering within you in any form or way. I forgive everyone who has ever hurt or harmed me, consciously or unconsciously, in this life or any other, in every plane, level, or dimension, known or unknown. I offer them grace. I ask for forgiveness for anyone I have ever hurt or harmed, consciously or unconsciously, in this life or any other, in every plane, level, or dimension, known or unknown. I ask for grace. I forgive myself for anything I've ever done to hurt or harm myself and another, consciously or unconsciously, in this life or any other, in this universe or any other, in every plane, level, or dimension, known or unknown. I accept grace. I am free. All chains and restrictions fall from me. I stand in my power as a master. I forgive everyone who has ever hurt or harmed me, consciously or unconsciously, in this life or any other, in every plane, level, or dimension, known or unknown. I offer them grace. I ask for forgiveness for anyone I have ever hurt or harmed, consciously or unconsciously, in this life or any other, in every plane, level, or dimension, known or unknown. I ask for grace. I forgive myself for anything I've ever done to hurt or harm myself and another, consciously or unconsciously, in this life or any other, in this universe or any other, in every plane, level, or dimension, known or unknown. I accept grace. I'm free. All chains and restrictions fall from me. I stand in my power as a master. I forgive everyone who has ever hurt or harmed me, consciously or unconsciously, in this life or any other, in every plane, level, or dimension, known or unknown. I offer them grace. I ask for forgiveness for anyone I have ever hurt or harmed, consciously or unconsciously, in this life or any other, in every level, plane, or dimension, known or unknown. I ask for grace. I forgive myself for anything I have ever done to hurt or harm myself or another, consciously or unconsciously, in this life or any other, in this universe or any other, In every plane, level, or dimension, known or unknown, I accept grace. I'm free, or chains and restrictions fall from me. I stand in my power as a master. And let us now just enter the most sacred and holy place. Sacred, sacred, sacred. 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 Holy, holy, holy. 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 We now ask the divine to please fill us to the brim and overflowing with divine love, with divine light, with divine power, divine wisdom, divine omnipresence. The Holy Spirit, the Shekinah, and the highest Christedness itself. We ask Archangel Michael and Raphael and Uriel and Gabriel to surround us. I ask Lord Melchizedek and the high orders of Melchizedek to be with us. I ask the brotherhood and the sisterhood of the sacred rose to be with us. And I ask Joshua and Mary Magdalene to open the heart center, the sacred rose, the sacred heart, in each and every one present now by touching it. Just take deep breaths into your heart center. Feel your heart center expanding, expanding, and expanding. As you deeply connect to your own soul. and just be open for omnipresence. And in this sacred space, we will turn now as the sacred sounds come through, as we balance the divine masculine and the divine feminine. We will start with the ah sound. The ah opens the heart and brings in that primordial vibration and oneness with your soul. And then we go to the E sound, which opens the pineal and pituitary glands, the third eye, and brings the higher mind into balance with the heart, as the higher heart center opens, and the two become as one, which opens the sacred heart. You can turn with me as I ask the divine to use me as a transmitter in the highest degrees. We will just have quiet and stillness now. As your heart opens more and more. We now ask the Divine for an inpouring of the power of love into our sacred heart. And from there, let there be an outpouring from us unto all of humanity and all of planet Earth. So that the sacred heart will be opened in all of humanity. As we return to oneness and unity, embracing the divinity within ourselves as one. And now, as we let the sounds reverberate through us and into all the earth, let the choirs of angels join us and of heaven.
Let all that is sacred within you be ignited. All that is sacred and holy within you be activated. Let all that is sacred within you reverberate with the music of the spheres and the primordial sound of creation. Let your heart and soul sing the songs of the omniverse as one song, as one heart, as one vibration. Let the power of love enter your sacred heart. Let your soul embrace its full divinity as you stand in the full power of the truth of who and what you are in truth. Walk now the highest and sacred paths with purity, purity of intent, purity of thought, purity of feeling, purity of heart. Es creas tomastia tekuma ikiti. Les toma astiavala. Ireshumo ikiti astutue. You are sanctified. You are blessed. See yourself in the magnificence of the truth of your soul. As a true son and daughter of the divine. See your heart shimmering, radiating out like the central suns, radiating forth love, unconditional love. As your heart speaks directly to the heart of others.
heart to heart, soul to soul, love to love, one heart, one soul, one love. As the power of love is the new golden age, starting within you, within us as one. Now receive the divine anointing. As Joshua and Mary Magdalene will give you the sacred keys and symbols for your journey ahead, each one to the degree that they are capable to experience this now, as we are in absolute stillness and oneness. Know that all that was not in love in your life, whether for yourself or others, will come to the surface now and will need to be released in the next few days and weeks. Know that you're now wearing the new garments. As you step into the truth of who and what you are in truth. To walk on the new earth. With great love, which is unconditional. Sacred, sanctified, And now just in your inner space, say thank you for what you've received today. As we thank Mary Magdalene and Joshua, and we thank the Divine and the Holy Spirit, the Shekinah, as we embrace Christedness and the sacred path. And when you're ready, you can just open your eyes and just get back into your full conscious awareness again. And I just suggest that you just, for a few minutes at home, just sit in quietude and allow all of this to integrate into you. And to know that the power of love is the greatest there is. And to walk the path of the Sacred Heart means to become the love which changes the world, creates the new world, creates the new earth, creates the new golden age. With every thought that you think, with every feeling that you have, with every word that you speak. And let us create now in unity and oneness. As we wear the new garments, and as we walk, let us embrace the omniversal within us, the omniversal presence. And let us live a divinity that is there in our souls, the pureness of our souls, as we indeed are at soul level. And live our soul purpose with all that we are. May you be blessed in the deepest sense of what blessings are. And may you experience love in overflowing. I thank you so much for spending this time with me. And I thank you for being open and willing to accept this. You will find that if you do these chants, that it will bring you into balance and harmony within yourself, and it will bring you into that absolute stillness where your mind is totally stilled and the mind and the heart are as one. As the masculine and feminine within you also is beautifully balanced. It will open up your intuitive center more, and you will find that you will just go into a totally beautiful state of stillness and oneness every time you bring this chant into being. If you are a singer, you will often find that you will just find that you will have your own tones coming in with the I, A, E. I often do it. It's not always the same. But just allow yourself to be guided there, and just allow it to flow from your heart center and out of you without trying to direct it. Just allow it to come. Just allow it to move through you so that you just become the instrument. It's like a violinist that becomes one with the violet and with a violin and the instrument, so that the music and the violinist and the violin become as one. That is oneness. There cannot be separation. All is one. One heart, one soul, one divinity, one union. May you all be blessed. And I thank you so much for being here. And I love you very much. Be blessed. Thank you. Okay, if you have any questions, you can also put them here if you want to, but I think Robert Robert sent me an email because this is recorded and it needs to go out to the world. So I think you can just send me the emails if you want to. Thank you so much. And bless you. Thank you.